Every year has been great. I mean, just watching the steady growth. I love when in an industry like this, which is so difficult, people don't think you're gonna be able to accomplish things, and you do. And you continue to keep accomplishing things, and you keep getting doubted. That's what drives me, and I think that drives Mike, and it drives the rest of us. We're not really supposed to do this.
Calling all you sinners, the righteous and the true.
My name is Mike Denny, and I am the president of MDM Recordings, and we are in the Basement World headquarters. We were in the worst recession we have ever seen, and I decided to start this company.
When Mike started the company 10 years ago, I thought he was crazy. I thought he was batshit crazy, because honestly, I didn't know, what does Mike know about running a label? And I thought, what does Mike know about country?
My area of expertise was always in sales and marketing, and I was fortunate enough to work for the major labels, Sony Music Canada back in the day, in a national sales role for kids video and kids audio, oddly enough, which led me to Universal Music, where I was national sales manager for classical jazz and strategic marketing, which led me to Fusion 3 Distribution, which was an independent distribution company, and where I really learned my chops and how to potentially run a independent record company.
I worked with Aaron Pritchett for a lot of years, and we made a bunch of records together. And when we did the Big Wheel record, we were kind of looking for a different distribution partner to try to get to that next level. And so I met with Mike, and honestly, Mike was the only guy that looked me in the eye the whole time that we chatted.
We call each other our business partners because we all have a say in everything. Mostly because if they don't ask for my say, I'll give it anyways. So we kind of work like that.
I worked at Country Music Television around the time that Mike started this label. You know, and there were a lot of people who would kind of show up with new labels and stuff. But this Mike Denny guy kept popping up, being delightful, always had ideas. You know, he's a bit of a character, right? Not in a bad way, but he just became a character in all of our lives in the country music community.
What if I don't lead you on, do you wrong, take you down the road again? What if I don't?
Mitch called me in early 2009. He had parted ways with Aaron, and through a mutual friend of his was sent some demo tapes of Chad Brownlee.
Started working with Chad and getting that thing developed, and that was a lot of fun in the early days. And it was at a really good time, I think, in country music, because there was kind of like the new breed coming up. You had guys like Chad and Tim Hicks and Dallas and, you know, a bunch of other artists. So it was kind of a good energy within the industry.
When I think of MDM, I still think of Chad first. That was such a solely focused operation to break Chad. They had a pot on each burner as it related to Chad. Everything was cooking for Chad. And I think at the time, we were at a point in country music when Chad came along that I'm gonna say that the lane for male artists in country was pretty open at that point. So I think there was room for a new male protagonist, and that was Chad.
One of the coolest things when we first got together with Chad Brownlee was that we all came from different areas. Mitch and I had worked with artists before that. Chad had the hockey background. Mike had the major label background, and we all kind of came together, I guess, which kind of leads me to the song Chad had out at that time called Hope, which was about the Phoenix Rising. We all came from separate backgrounds, and somehow when we came together, there was hope.
The Phoenix Rising.
I remember Mike calling me and saying, I want to come over with Mitch. I've got somebody I want you to meet, and bringing Chad over, and we had a nice barbecue, and Chad started singing, and I just went, holy shit. Yeah.
EMI always invested in people who had great ideas for labels, and Mike was somebody that loved country music. We did not have an independent country label distributed through EMI.
When he came in with Love Me or Leave Me, Mike came in with that track into the EMI offices, and he played it for myself and the radio team. And it was one of those where everybody looked at each other and went, okay, it's time, let's go. And everybody got it.
Black or white, day or night, yes or no, I'll make it easy. Love me or leave me.
He was the flagship artist of the label, and to be completely honest and candid, he was a large part of the reason I signed with MDM.
Chad Brownlee ended up on the radio, and Mike Denny, this small label, was on the radio with acts from Warner and Universal South, and you know, there they were vying for the same top 20 stuff.
What we did with Chad over the course of 4 albums really put us on the map. I'm not gonna lie, there's been some amazing days in this basement, and there has been some awful days in this basement. What makes it worthwhile for me is finding an artist at ground zero and developing that artist to the world stage.
Mike had the kind of acumen that allowed him to understand both the marketing side, the A&R side, and I think also, what's important in Canada, the funding side. He seemed to be a guy who knew how to work the system.
The independent sector has some benefits with the funding that allows them potentially to access money that majors don't. Mike's been very good at that and helps him, you know, market, develop, put them on the road both nationally and globally.
Mike and I spent a lot of time talking about Factor in the beginning and what he needed to do. And he would listen. I can't tell you how many people I would have the same conversation with, and I might as well have talked to the wall. They wouldn't listen. Everybody's looking for a shortcut. And there isn't necessarily a shortcut. You've got to do the work.
If you were to line up the MDM people, the principals of the Mike, Carmen, Mitch, there is, and I say this with a lot of love, I've known Carmen especially for 25 years, but there's a bit of a misfit quality to them, you know? But when they're together, and I think you can add Tiffany into all this too, the whole group, when they're together, they become very strong.
I think that people look at us every day and go, how does that work? Because we are 3 of the most different people ever.
The dynamic between Mike, Mitch, and Carmen is sometimes a complicated one. They are best friends. So as everyone knows, best friends are sometimes complicated, but the cool thing about Mike, Mitch, and Carmen is that we have all our grounds covered. Mike is kind of the businessman, and he would kill me for saying it, but the suit, quote unquote. Mitch is the music guy, so he knows what it's like to tour, and he knows music. And Carmen knows us and the artists and our fans.
She's an artist whisperer. That's what she is. She's an artist whisperer.
It's the team, it's the people. And those people attract other great people, whether it's artists or people who are working behind the scenes. And they're honest, they're ethical, they care, it matters to them. Tell me another label out there that you can say all of those things about.
We fight all the time. I think that's what makes it so special. Sometimes you have to agree to disagree too. Opinions are strong in this camp, and that's a great thing. You need to have those, you need to bring that. That's what's going to help, you know, get people to the places that they need to be. We have to be honest about what we see, what we hear, and how we feel.
You gotta work hard. It's not just talent, you know, you have to work hard and you have to persevere, and that's the best advice I could ever give anybody, you know, is there's no magic formula. There's no, you know, follow this line and you're gonna get there, you know, or whatever. It's perseverance, and you gotta have thick skin. You gotta love rejection.
You might have 15 no, not nows, and then somebody's gonna, well, maybe. And that maybe is what opens up to a bunch of yeses down the road. So no means no, not now. If you interpret it that way, if you interpret it as no, you're gonna fail.
Not giving up. Finding ways to find money to keep the thing going. We believe in our artists.
There's been times where we thought, like, where's the money gonna come from? Are the artists happy? And, you know, what's radio gonna do with us? And what do you do if this doesn't work? But it's never been a, what are we gonna do when it stops? Because that's not an option.
Even today, 10 years later, Mike's got the same boyish enthusiasm about this label as he did when he first came to me and said, I've watched other people do it for years, for decades. I want my shot. I think I can do it.
Till you kiss me quiet. I'll keep going on and on until you kiss me quiet.
Jess Moskluck came along in an interesting time as a cover singer on YouTube, which of course to her audience and demographic was absolutely normal. I think she ran into Mike, a guy who was a traditional record guy who, you know, I'm not sure, you know, I won't suggest that he didn't know what YouTube was, but he may not have. So he took a very traditional path with this young artist who was born on YouTube. And I think that it worked very well. I think there's a hard transition when you go from being a YouTube artist singing all the best songs in the world, cover songs, to now having to record your own music. So she had to find things that would convince her audience that her voice on these new songs was just as impactful as it was singing the greatest hits of the day.
Cheap Wine and Cigarettes. I love that song. And I didn't even realize it was on MDM at first, because it was like, I love this song, where is it? I gotta find it. And then I went, holy shit, it's Mikey's.
When Cheap Wine and Cigarettes was happening, that caught us, I think, all by surprise. Certainly I did, because I didn't think that was, I thought that was a good song, but I didn't think that was the song that it became.
The best day, the day that kind of really I felt we had arrived was when Jess won her first Female Artist of the Year at the CCMAs. We had a great song, we had an amazing artist, but we were an independent label up against the major labels. That win was, it was epic. I still get goosebumps when I think about that win.
Jess Moskluck.
The last however many years for me has been a series of firsts. Every year there's been a new first, a new gold record. Even if it's a new festival that I've always wanted to play. It's been constant and I love it. But that makes it really hard to plan and it makes it really hard to look back. You constantly have to follow up your last release. Somewhere along the line, you have to stop doing this. And you might do this or you might do this. But you can't continue to go this way forever. And I know that. So the pressure is trying to go this way as long as you can.
It's the coolest feeling in the world to watch your artist go out on a really important time slot at a festival, which is usually Saturday night, getting into the evening hours and just watching people go absolutely crazy. And my brain just goes back to the very first time I ever saw the artist.
Some of the achievements that the label has had, you know, Chad Brownlee's I Hate You For It, I think, sold 50,000 copies. That was a big deal. Obviously, Cheap Wine and Cigarettes, that became like a chart-busting song, a career-making song for Jess, especially at a time when women aren't being played on the radio and stuff like that in the country format.
A gold and platinum song for a Canadian female artist that hasn't been done since Shania Twain. It's amazing when you think about it. On an indie label with a small-town girl out of Saskatchewan.
As long as I got you and you got me, let's get carried away, let's get lost, lost, lost. Montreal or LA, love will be where we are.
When the label wins, everybody wins. And so there has always been this philosophy at MDM, and this has come from the top down where, you know, let's help each other, let's support each other.
When you know that an artist has something that is different than anybody else, like the artist we have right now, you just find a way to keep going. You just find a way to change it a little bit and change the story and reinvent it and give you legs that can last a career, not just a year.
I remember my first ever meeting with Mike Denny was at a hotel bar in Winnipeg when they were in town for the Junos. And the first conversation we had was Mike's like, you know, I like your song, I like your voice. you're kind of an intense dude, but I'm willing to give this a shot. But just so you know, it's a 3 to 5 year plan.
It's a huge indication of why Mike has won Canadian Country Music Record Label Person of the Year.
Winning Record Company of the Year at the CCMAs, I know was super personal because we all feel so invested in this label like a family. So I think that for all of us, I don't know if it elevated the label or not, but I know that it elevated all of us to feel a certain way, to push ourselves to work even harder.
Mike was part of that recasting of the Canadian country business that wasn't necessarily about just getting to Nashville. I think with artists like Dean Brody and Chad and Jess, there's an ecosystem that's been created that says it's okay to be in Canada.
Him being really smart about the business side of things, and the fact that he never went for, I got to open a big office and have a big desk and 47 staff and all of that. He runs it from his home. He's solid.
I think what's really nice about Mike, too, is that, you go to a bigger label, and I've been on bigger labels, and, you don't talk to the owner of the company. You don't talk to the head guy or whatever, you got to go through 20 different people if you even get there, And, I mean, I can call Mike up any day, and, so can all the other artists, and it's like you're getting that, one-on-one personal treatment,
We found a model that works, that allows us to take our time and really set these artists up to have careers, not a hit single.
Mike was crazy about the song Take Me Home, and he was absolutely right. I think we all felt that one a little bit. We all knew that it was something special.
Top spun song the year that it was out. I still have the work tape of that song when Jess sent it to me, and I was like, this is going to be a huge song.
Clearly, the success was found both in terms of multiple CCMA nomination and wins and a Juno award as well. So those are pretty cool things for Jess.
Jess and all of her sort of accolades that she has received over the last 4 years. Her winning the Juno, huge moment, huge moment for MDM, huge moment for that female artist. I mean, it was incredible. Everybody celebrated that.
That was a moment none of us saw coming. It was awesome. Everything about that was real. And to be amongst peers of all genres and in a room of very accepting people who kind of went, Jess what? Jess who? How do you say that? That was a cool moment for all of us. I love that.
I think all of the artists that are on MDM have a talent that we all see. And some of them click right away, some of them don't. Some of them are on the roller coaster ride, but we all know it's just a matter of that. Me and Mike always joke, we're 3 minutes and 30 seconds away from a complete turnaround.
In comes the night, out goes the world. All that is left is you and me, girl.
There's times when we struggle. There's times when we went through this, I think, with Bobby Wills, where it wasn't so much of a struggle as he took a path and he wanted more of that Roy Orbison sound. This is off his last EP. And then he also had horns in there. I mean, it was Muscle Shoals, yes, but it wasn't the vernacular of what all of radio was looking for.
It's like a lottery. It's like when you write a song, it's a lottery that you get one. Then it's another lottery to get it recorded. Then it's another lottery to get it on the radio, and another lottery for it to connect with fans. That's a lot of lotteries.
It is really tough. It's really tough, particularly when you have expectations and we were coming off, 3 top 10s, and, things were on the right trajectory, and it really didn't hit. It didn't work. And in this camp, part of what makes it easier is that everybody believed the same thing you did. We were all in on it. Everybody said, this is the one, let's go. So it makes it easier to win as a group and fail as a group. And it takes some of the pressure off as an individual artist. But it was really tough.
There are highs and lows in this business. And, you know, somebody said to us, the people who win in this business are the people who just stay with it and keep going. And if you believe in your project, and if you have good relationships, and if you're creating, you know, the best music that you can.
Mike was the first one to believe in us.
He's believed in us when we haven't believed in ourselves.
It takes a lot of losing before you start to win in this business. And I'm still driven by that. I still want to do the best that I can every day for the artists that are on our roster. And I'm hard on myself, I'm hard on the artists, and I'm hard on our support crew as well, too, to make sure we're doing everything we can.
The stakes financially are higher when you're an indie. You have about 4 to 6 months to try to break a record that you may have put hundreds of thousands of dollars in, and if you can't get some catch at media level or sales level, that money is generally speaking lost.
A run of, quote, unsuccessful ventures with songs can make or break a label within a couple of months. And I know for a fact that this is the way Mike has operated. Every penny he's reinvested in the label. So if he doesn't have that success, it affects his plans and his hopes and dreams for all the artists. So the risk is huge. In a very short term, things can go from, yay, we're amazing, to this is going to be tough.
'Cause anything worth anything in this old world starts with a girl.
There's a voice inside of you telling you, it's time to give up. Maybe it's time to pack it in, you know, and that doesn't really go away when things aren't going how you planned.
We believed we have a great song, each one of those interims that didn't work out for him. And when you take that step back and go, we're building an artist here, right? Sure, disappointment 1, 2, you know, but here again, and I believe that at the point of single 6, you know, when we weren't working it out, I inside felt, I think we're done here. Even though I feel that David James's voice was the best male voice we have or had in the interim of the last 10 years. Even though I might have lost trust and faith, you know who didn't? Mike. Mike goes, okay, let's keep going. And he gave it one more shot, and that was Sunset on It.
Let the sunset on it.
One of the things I've really learned over my career is patience. And great things take time, and you need to be ready for when they do happen. And so for this last song, it took a little while to get there. You know, I think it was on the charts for 7 or 8 months. I think that's just kind of epitomizes my career in a nutshell, so to speak. To see that all really come to fruition, it was worth the wait for sure.
David James had some great songs, like some really great stuff. Downtown Kids is great. It's a lot of fun to get that energy.
We were downtown kids, rebels in a small town, hands up, windows down.
I feel like creatively, our whole roster is really moving forward into some new areas that are sort of uncharted, but they just feel right. Like they feel like they fit the individuals. So it's exciting.
Everyone that works in our camp, I really find in the last year or 2 years, they really come together. Like we really understand each other. We really work well together. We know when to push buttons and not to push buttons.
There's a price to pay to get through the gates, so lighten up and testify. Holy smoke.
I think we're really like kind of in that 5th gear thing, you know, we're cruising.
Down by the river, right by the water, moon burning down, making it hotter.
When I drink, I sing Bobby Wills songs, okay? I'm just gonna level. When I party, I sing Bobby Wills songs. I'm a huge fan, and Jess, of course, is gonna continue to be Jess, and I mean, she's become like a little sister of mine, and just seeing her develop into such one of the epicenters of Canadian country music, which is super amazing because it couldn't happen to a better person.
It's like I spend my whole life picking up baggage.
Pass the Pass is one of my favorites. I just think that the emotional energy of that song, and I'm a sucker for a great emotional song. So for me, the energy of that song and that vocal performance was next level. There are very few people that can do what she did in that song. Melody's amazing, and she just wails on it.
I find myself stuck inside all my heartbreak memories. I find myself wishing I could rewrite all my history.
I've always thought it could work. Could work. Maybe not would work, but could work. There was just too many people involved that just didn't want it any other way. Just wanted it to do good. Just wanted to be the best. Just wanted to be the best we could be.
This label works because everybody involved is so passionate, and they truly have the artist's best interests at heart. I can only say why it works from an artist's point of view, but I know that's why I stay.
The lesson is be authentic, have integrity.
Perseverance.
Never give up.
Having the passion and the care.
You can tick all those boxes off with Mike.
I don't think you ever get there. I don't think there's ever a there to get there. Because every time you get to the point you want to reach, you're looking for something else to do. You're looking for a new mark to hit. You're looking for a new best to be.
If I've learned one thing over the 10 years of running this company is I wish we would have celebrated those highs more than what we did. Because in this business, when you go through peaks and valleys, the peaks are awesome, but it's like a drug. You want to go to the next level. You want to get to the next step, and you never really take a step back to go, holy cow, look what we've accomplished.
And we're not driving Corvettes, but we're doing what we love, and that's music. We're doing music every day of our life, 24/7. There's nothing else that we think about.
All of the things that led up to this point have made this company and this team stronger and better, and the good days and the bad days and everything in between have all led to this moment.
I just gotta get past the past. I just gotta get past the past.